Hey everybody, it's Andy. Welcome to Coffee Time. Careers in Coffee Tuesday morning. Great to have everybody. You got me, and you got my boy dog Harley under the covers behind me. Great to have you. Love this time. Love rolling out of bed and getting together with you. Today we got a little something on video interviewing. I released a new video. It was a short clip this morning, kind of a Q&A style, for someone who was getting ready for a HireVue interview. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about that, take some of your questions for about an hour. Let's go till about 8 o'clock my time. It's 7 Central in the U.S. Great to have you. Get in the chat. Say hi. Let me know where you're from, what you need. Put some question marks in front of your questions so I can find them. And if you are in the Mile Walk Academy and in some of my programs like the boot camp and my leadership program, or if you're on the interview intervention support team, let me know that. I'd love to give you a shout out for your continued support. Love having you. Love having you. So I want to ask you guys, actually right away, right, like in the chat, can you let me know if you've either, had one of these video interviews? There's a couple different kinds of video interviews. There's videoing like this where, you're on one side of your camera, someone else is on the other side of your camera, right? And you're actually talking. It's truly a video interview where you're having dialogue. And last year, actually, now that I think about it, I think the video came out exactly a year ago, last August in 2018. I did a video called Video Interviewing Tips for Job Seekers. And I went through 20 points of how to look good on camera, some of the nuances, all the great stuff as far as how to prep for the interview, how to get your environment set up, your desk and everything, your camera, your lights, yourself, how to make eye contact with the camera, and all of that good stuff. I went through all of that, and at the time, video interviewing, the two-way variety, was well popular by then. And since that time, there are a lot more people and a lot more companies using the one-way video interview. And folks, I mean this, I wish I could disinvent that technique for you. I think it's lifeless. I think it's completely impersonal. I think it's a way for employers to not have to talk to a lot of people. They can screen you out with whatever biases they have, how you look, all your style, those kind of things right out of the gate. And I think it's I don't think it's a great technique. I think companies that use it in general, this is obviously not 100%, but I think companies that use it in general are not going to get the most talented people to put up with that, put up with that nonsense. If you want to talk with me about coming to your company, I'm happy to have that conversation. So, but I'd like to know if you've had them, and if you are going to go through them, I want you to be armed. So, number one, let me know what what you've been through regarding these. If you've had them, maybe you've never heard of them, but just so we're all in order here, I think my little boy dog I don't know where he's going. But just so we're in order here, basically what this is it's a video interview, and companies will have you log in. They will give you a chance to set up your environment and make sure that you're kind of sitting in the camera and all that good stuff. And then what they'll do is they'll give you a minute. When you're comfortable, you hit the button, you say I'm good to go. They basically flash up questions that ask you about yourself or whatever it is they want to ask you. You're usually getting about a minute or so to collect yourself, and then there's a designation of however many minutes they want to give you to answer the question. Sometimes it's always the same amount of time. Sometimes it varies depending on the question they're asking you and all that good stuff. But effectively, you are in a one-person interview with a computer screen and you and a camera. And so I did a short video this morning that kind of walks you through that, about how to make sure that you resonate with the camera. And the biggest problem that people have with this is the discomfort that they have with actually speaking to the camera. So one of the things that I want to share with you on the positive side about these interviews is, if you think about it for a second, it's pretty awesome that you get to say whatever you want to say without interruption. That's pretty nice. And if you're really adept at this, you can imagine somebody sitting on the other side of that camera smiling, but you get to say uninterrupted anything you want. That's positive. The negative is when you speak to a computer screen, which is effectively what you're doing, or your camera, it's very difficult to maintain your level of concentration. As a matter of fact, you want to have a good laugh at me, go back, open up my YouTube channel, open up all the videos, scroll all the way back to video number 1 of, I think this is 200 now, and look at me and look what I was going through. I think the content that I was giving a couple of years back was awesome. I really do. I mean, if you listen to the content, but the delivery is not nearly as fluid. I didn't have an understanding of the technology I was dealing with. I used notes at the time. I don't do that anymore. So I've gotten a lot more comfortable with this. Actually, and what's really funny is when you guys email me, some of you say this stuff. I know this. It's the same thing for you. Somebody who doesn't use the camera a lot, you need to practice a little bit. So what I suggested in the video was, you can have your notes and all that good stuff set up. I don't want to repeat everything I said in the 2 videos, but if you think about it, one of the best things that you can do is make sure that your setup is great, your eye contact is there, your eyes are level with the camera, you are filling the frame of the video. So you don't want this, right? When you set it up, so you'll have a better and more prestigious and confident look. And then the other thing is, I would highly recommend doing some selfie videos and making sure that you can maintain concentration. And the great thing is, you do get a minute or so to collect yourself regarding what you want to say. But then it's about the delivery of it. And most of what comes through with these video interviews when the employers are looking at them is they're looking at your presentation style. They know it's difficult, to kind of pack up an answer in such a short amount of time, to be under that kind of pressure. So this is really about their view of your effectiveness at delivering what it is that you want to say. There's only so much they're going to be able to glean from these things. So if you concentrate on those areas, I think you will really shine. But check out the video. It's 3+ minutes. And then I got another video. Today the one was titled Higher View, How to Ace the Video Interview. And then the previous one that I did about a year ago, which is really, really important for you to check out, is video interviewing tips for job seekers. So check those out. I think that's really all I wanted to say about this. I'd really love if you have any questions specific to this stuff. You can ask me anything, but let me know what you need, and we'll give you all the help we can here. John Bailey, great to see you. Beautiful day in Texas. Great to have you. All right, you just need a little patience. Decided to take a week off and let the stuff I've been doing over the last 14 months percolate on its own. You know what, my friend and everybody? We all need to do that. We all need to do that, no matter where we are in our lives, no matter where we are in our businesses, no matter where we are in anything that we do. It's good. All right, so 2 at 2, a recruiter called and sent an email detailing a perfect job, although it's not yet active and only a contract position. Also, second week in September might be the arrival of my actual dream job. Great to hear. Hope that goes well. I know how much hard work you put into this. I know you've been with me for probably all those 14 months. Marcus, how are you? Looks like you have 2 of 2, but I can't actually see. Looking for that second one. All right, let's see. Let's go through this. Looks like the chat is rolling. All right, what techniques can I do at the second meeting with HR to ensure I understand the whole benefit package and get a good salary offer, or counter one in case it seems too low, entry level attorney? Okay, Marcus. So a couple of things. And I have an entire suite of techniques here that you can use in my salary negotiation playlist. I would highly recommend watching that. For Marcus and everybody else, when it comes to getting paid what you deserve, read my lips. It doesn't happen at the end. Okay? It's not about how fast talking you are and how much you're holding your ground. You getting paid what you deserve started from the time you submitted your application and everything that you did along the way that built up your credibility, built up all the chits and all the goodwill and their desire to want you and how much they love you, and all that stuff happens well before 3 steps before the finish line. So I need you to go back and revisit that and make sure that you've sold yourself in the interviewing process. You said this is the second meeting with HR, but I don't know if it's just the second meeting in the process or if this is a circle back with HR after an entire interview process. If it's the former, meaning it's the second interview in the process, I'm assuming that you're not going to be covering a lot of this stuff. HR might be sharing the benefit packages with you. If it's the second meeting in the process, I would just get the information, ask your questions, and let that be that. If this is the second meeting with HR and it's at the end of the interviewing process, then what I would revert you back to is my negotiation tactics. This is about making sure that they're clear that you want to make this work. You need to look at their offer. You need to make sure that they present their offer first. Don't start pitching them numbers. I always say it's better to catch the offer and have them make you a fair offer so that you're gaining more information. The more information you have, the better decision you could make. But at this point, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to get where their head is at regarding what they think you're worth. Then what I would do is I would look at the offer, I would look at the benefits package and all that good stuff, but before I broke away from that meeting, whether that was on the phone or in person, is I would make sure that I was planting the seed that you do want to make it work and you want to know if there's any wiggle room in the process in that offer. You want to understand if they consider that to be their best and final offer. In over 90% of the cases, that will not be their final offer. Even though people think so, and even though employers say so, like this is our best offer, or here's what we got for you, don't assume that that's the best offer. So you want to plant the seed, then you want to do your homework, you want to go home, you want to look at that stuff, then you want to go back with a counter offer. I'm not going to go through all that. I've spent hours explaining all that. Check that out. I think you'll get a lot of good tips, and it's worth it to go through that salary negotiation playlist and learn the tactics and figure out what to say when. And if you're already down there at the end and you're about to get the offer, then I would look at the videos around how to negotiate my job offer. All right, hope that helps. Tuwei, how you doing? Started your first day of training at your new job. Congratulations. You are welcome, and I appreciate that. Sam, how are you? Yes, Sam. Okay, plug here. If you guys haven't seen on social, we got this leadership. I think I demoed it. I don't know if you can see this. This is the workbook that these guys get. We're trying this on the fly. This is the workbook these guys get in my I don't know if you can see this. No, you can't. Well, anyway, these are all the things I'm covering tomorrow in my leadership, tomorrow on my leadership monthly live mentoring program. If you are not familiar with it, there are concepts that I go through with my leaders. We've got everything from building confidence, focus, making great lifelong decisions, usually the decisions that take you a year, 2 or 3 to attain fruition. We've talked about building trust. We've talked about making presentations and persuasive arguments, how to pitch something. And tomorrow's on listening. If you join up with us, you can join on a month-to-month basis, or you can join on an annual basis. The month-to-month is $49 a month. The annual is half of that. So $24.50, I think, for a one-time payment of $297. Maybe Kara can drop the links in the description. But I go live once a month. It's every 4 weeks, literally every 4 weeks, usually on a Wednesday. The times vary throughout the day, but tomorrow is on listening. It's about all the problems that we have with listening, why we stink at it. I literally teach you how to listen, because I don't think many of us have ever really been taught how to listen. We've been told to listen, and then I teach you how to practice it, and then I teach you how to actually listen with intention and half a dozen or so things that you need to do in order to listen, retain, and all that, understand and retain and communicate effectively. It's really going to be awesome. So if you're interested in that, check the links out. If you want the annual package, you got to use the link that Kara gives you here, or you got to email us at support. But it's tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow at noon Eastern. I'm pretty sure it's noon Eastern. Sometimes we run these at 5. We vary the times, but you can check the calendar out. But Sam, I'll see you. Adam Stark, how are you? Do you have any advice for further self-discovery? I've looked at my work history, job requirements, interest strengths, and your videos. Is there anything else I should assess? No, I'm saying this to you because I know what you've been through, and I know what you've done, and the interactions we've had, kind of week in and week out. I believe you've gone through a lot of stuff. If you want the deepest stuff, that's in the boot camp, but in my job search boot camp. But on the free video stuff, you have gone through everything. I think it's a big part of being self-aware is doing the homework, but then getting out into the world and investigating and looking back at your homework and not altering so much and reacting to what's out there, but making sure that you're staying true to your benchmarks and the happiness criteria that you've developed, and then looking to see if there's anything else you've discovered that you feel is truly important to you. And I'm not talking about constantly changing your requirements. I'm talking about you being more educated about possibilities out there and adding them to your requirements in whatever proration or level of importance they are to you. So no, I get out there and do it is my suggestion. All right, Charlene Crocker, 1 and 2. Good morning to you too. What tactics should I use if I'm looking for a remote job? I really don't care what industries. I have lots of transferable skills, but I don't want to put off the vibe that I don't care about whatever jobs I'm applying to. You're not. Target your jobs based on the things that are of interest to you. From a remote standpoint. So there's a couple of concatenations that I would go through. The first thing is I would definitely watch my video on how to get an out-of-state job. I know that's not what you said. You want to live where you are and you want to work remotely, I'm assuming. I would still watch that video because the 9 tactics that I go through, 8 of them are going to be applicable to you. That'll be a great one. The other thing is I would actually apply to organizations that I found desirable based on my skill set, regardless of whether they advertise a remote job or not. Unless they literally on the job description say this is a 5-day-a-week in-office job, I would probably apply and then see if it's something that you can do remotely. There are also, as a kind of a third thing, there are websites literally that are tailored for remote jobs. I would Google them. There's many of them. They have even niche-y ones that you can look at, and I would check that out as well. All right, hope that helps. Varun, how you doing? Morning to you too. Used your answer for the weakness question in terms of what I would like to learn, but I was called out on the question as, is that really a weakness? How do I massage this question? So what's going through my head is, I would be thinking about the interviews and saying, is that really a good question that's going to let you know if I'm an excellent employee or not? But that's between you and me and the other people that are in this session. So it is a weakness. You are not forced to actually give a weakness. They can ask the question if they want. And what I would just say, I would go back to my response in how I would articulate that. And your weakness is a gap in experience. So effectively, for anybody who has not seen the video, The thrust of the video is you, under no circumstances, should give someone an actual weakness. It's a stupid question. Don't compound it with a stupid answer. So what I want you to do is, yeah, my weakness is I don't know how to do this, right? I haven't yet done it, and I would stick to it. And I think that most interviewers will get that. And you know what? If the fact of the matter is that you don't want to give them something that you really consider a weakness, I would say, yes, I believe that's a weakness, that I don't have that experience. And I'm not good at that. So that's your weakness. And I would stick to it. I really would. I almost, I laugh at how ridiculous and archaic and ineffective that question is at truly recognizing or helping an employer understand how effective you will be as an employee. That question is even less effective than the tell me about yourself question and any of those other silly questions. So I wouldn't massage the question. I'm assuming you wanted me to help you massage your answer, and I would just be emphatic about the answer. Yes, I consider that a weakness. That's an actual weakness, because I would not be any good at that or great at that if given that task. And that's it. And I usually want you to do it in something that is away and unrelated to the job itself. All right. Hey, Diana, great to see you. Johnny Stevens. Hopefully we're going to see you tomorrow in some fashion, or at least on the recording. So, wait, let's see. Sipping an office-made nitro cold brew. They're paying me to barista along with my job. Love it. Okay, so I've got I'm sure you couldn't see my table of contents, but I've got my, maybe coffee is addicted to me. So what's, ever think of that? So inside this cup is the Café du Monde from New Orleans, their coffee with the chicory in it, and I quite like it. And I wish I had a beignet right now, but I know I shouldn't be eating those. But they're just so damn delicious. Hey, Evelyn, my boot camper, how you doing? Always great to see you. Thomas Gilbert, always great to see you. Johnny Stevens, I had a higher view interview before I met you. It was horrible. They are. They just are terrible. I just tried to smile as much as possible, but I really shine in connecting with people, and this killed that. I want you to think about this. There's a whole bunch of people on here. Every single one of you, I guarantee you're better in person than you are like this. Right? I'm a hell of a lot more fun in person. So if you like me on the camera, you should really meet me in person. I know that to be true for you guys. So I just think that it's an ineffective way to really tell anything. I think it's just a simple way for employers to screen people, and it's just all their biases can kick in and all that good stuff. That's how I feel about them. So I'm glad for you, buddy, that you got a job that you love, and I'm so glad you're part of the community and continuing on with the leadership stuff. John Bailey was requested to create a video resume by one firm, had a Skype WebEx interview for various companies, never got the questions in advance. So the video I shot a year ago on the video interviewing tips for job seekers, that was about doing this interactively. Those are much, much more fun. I don't love them as much as meeting people in person. I actually would rather do a video interview than a phone interview, but I get that. And Diana, you've had both too, huh? That's interesting. Charlene says, yes, I've had both a Zoom live interview, also had a one-way video interview just last week. Huh. Brendan Sweeney, any tips on how to get past an employer's requirement to be eligible to work in the country? I'm looking for work in Ireland as a U.S. citizen. Brendan, that's a little tougher, and for anybody who needs a visa, these are, I was talking to a candidate yesterday that we are getting an offer for. He's a very senior guy. He and I were talking about, the employment market in general. And, just because the world says the employment market's hot doesn't mean the employment market's hot everywhere. It doesn't mean that in every country. It doesn't mean that in every state in the U.S., wherever you live, right? You're obviously in the U.S. And there's pockets of places in this world that where it's tighter. There's industries where it's tighter. There's locations where it's tighter. There's levels where it's tighter. it's never one size fits all. One thing that I always say to people who are trying to work elsewhere is you've got to figure out based on your driver. So I don't know why you're looking for work in Ireland as a U.S. citizen. You could be, I don't know, you, your wife, your partner, your team, the whole Sweeney clan had to move for whatever reason. I get all this. What I try to do for somebody who is interested in relocating is I always say the easiest route is to get in with an organization that is international, has opportunities in different countries, and can help you and move you. Okay, if you are on the outside and you are trying to get in, so if you are in the US, you are not currently working for a company and or you're working for a company that cannot move you to Ireland, then you're going to have a much tougher time with visa issues and all these other things. And I don't know what it's like going the other way when you're going outside and you're going to become an expat. But it's for those that are trying to transfer countries and move into the U.S., these are additional costs, and some of them can be very expensive. So it's a real deterrent for a company to do that unless you have a very unique skill set. So what I always say is just make sure you're trying whatever routes you can. And the safest route, the most preferred route, and the easiest route, and the one that likely is going to help you the quickest, is trying to get into a U.S.-based company that has options for you to work in Ireland. And I don't know what that is, and I don't know what's driving you to do that. And if I had the other factors, I might be able to give you a little bit more color. But it's hard. I do recommend you try to get with a company, even if it's a two-step process. But I don't know your requirements. I don't know if you got to move today, or if it's a long-term goal, or it's just where you want to work the last half of your professional life. But I if you give me a little more color, I could probably give you a little bit better answer. Yeah, the two-way videos are just really not that bad. It's the one-way video. Yep. All right, what moves you now? Part 1, hi Andy, the position that I'm applying for, I have some unofficial experience doing the job. I covertly helped a friend when he worked there. Should I put it on my career summary? I'm pretty sure it would get me the job. I'm just worried it might be taken negatively. Well, I think that in situations like this, I don't love the word covert, meaning, I don't really, how you did what you did. I don't love that if you did something behind the scenes and you're helping a friend who worked there who was supposed to be doing his or her job, or his job, how that might reflect on your friend. The other thing is, you can talk about what you did. If possible, is it possible that you could talk about what you did without bringing, your friend into it? It's just a weird situation, to be honest with you. I don't know how I would handle that. I really don't. I mean, if you are a lot of times, technologists will do this or build sandboxes in their homes. If you give me a little bit, you got to give me more specifics on this, and then I can give you a better answer of what I would say and how I would say it, depending on what it is. Hey, Christy, how are you? Keith Hamilton, great to see you. Peter Torres, great to see you. Cecilia from London, my boot camper friend, how are you? It is, 1:30 by you maybe? Hi all, if one has worked for someone who received a very bad press, can that negative affect Lee as a job seeker? I don't think so. Kat Harrison Peterson, good morning. You know what? If I'd have known you were going to be on the session, I would have drank out of your big mug, which is the biggest mug in my cabinet. I'm off to a networking meeting about AI and analytics. Dan in Demand is at an interview. Let's give him good vibes. By the way, last week, I want you all to know, last week, my Careers in Coffee crew, we gave Michael McDevitt all the kudos. He was going and hopping on a plane and going to Vegas for an interview. He got the job. So he's a boot camper. And I want to thank you all for sending him great vibes. Now please send Dan in Demand. So Dan is another, Dan in Demand in Minnesota land is a boot camper too. Let's send him good vibes. And I used to be able to play Country Roads, Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver when I could play the guitar. That was the first song that I ever learned. My guitar skills are not good. And my singing skills now are even worse. Kat, I have a great live had a great live interview yesterday. I got a feeling my job search is over soon thanks to Andy's great system. Kat, that's awesome. That's awesome. Great, lots of luck, my boot camper friend there. Carrie Freeman, hi, how are you? Aretha Gale, hi Andy, Aretha from Virginia. I have a question. How would you negotiate if an employer offers a salary that is less than the posted salary? I'm looking for the total package, but inquiring. I've been watching your videos and they have helped tremendously. You're an excellent resource. You're welcome, Aretha and anybody. When you get an offer from the employer, the things that you want to take stock of is, okay, this is what the employer has opened with. That's it. They opened with that. There's a great likelihood that there is more there. That's the first thing. Second thing is, you gotta look at yourself. How effectively did I go through the interview process? And just because they posted, $100,000 target pay, and you earn, say, 80, and they brought you up to 90, let's just say, sake of argument, you also could be at the experience level at the low end of their spectrum. Most employers, not all, most, are happy to pay more if they get more, and they want to pay less if they're going to get less. I'm okay with all that. So in the interview process, did you truly show them the value that you're going to bring? Or the experience level that you have and all that good stuff. If you did not do that and they bring you down to the lower level of the range, then what you need to do is you need to make your case that you really can do these things, bring this to the table, you want more, or if here again, going back to, I think it was Marcus earlier on, I think that was his name, about the negotiation, and you got to look at that negotiation playlist and look at the different tactics that you should take when you're going to make that counteroffer. And when you go back to the employer, you want to state everything that you want. You don't want to iterate. So if they gave you the low end of the spectrum, you want to come back with all the things that you want. I want more salary. I want more bonus. Or you can divvy it up however you want. Bring it all. I want more PTO, so on and so forth. I want the front row parking spot. You bring it all at once. And then what'll likely happen is you won't get everything, or you might not get everything to the degree you want, or they might pick and choose, or they might not have the ability to offer certain things. So you want to go back to them in one step with everything you want. You need to make sure that you can explain the rationale if that's appropriate and why you want certain things, but you have to go back to what did you prove in the process. But the short answer to what you're asking is, I would always go back and ask for more. You just want to make sure that your case is effective, and you also need to accurately reflect. I mean, we had a woman, she changed jobs. She's actually starting a new job day after tomorrow, so Thursday. She took a $5,000 pay cut in base salary. She's probably going to make about the same amount of money that she did at her other previous employer. And the fact of the matter was that she did not have the level of experience that her compensation was here. Her level of experience for what they needed was down here. They did not make her take a huge haircut. It really was more or less, swap for swap, like penny for penny, more or less. But, that was the fact of the matter. Now, we had somebody else in the process that earned like $30,000 more that they didn't think was $30,000 better. So this stuff happens. So it's not just because a company has a posted range doesn't mean that you're exactly going to get the range or in the range. It depends on, like I said, your level of expertise. So I hope that helps. Just perspective. Joe, winner from Louisville. Great to have you, my boot camper friend. Pastor Guerrero, your videos are super helpful. Can you make a video on cultural fit interview? Seems to be very common nowadays. Pastor Guerrero, cultural fit is the single greatest indicator of recruitment and retention success. My guess is it always will be. The reason I don't call out cultural interviewing or cultural interview questions is a lot of the behavioral interview questions go at your cultural traits. If you're interested in how I would assess culture, I have a booklet on the Mile Walk Academy website that's for employers called How to Hire for the corporate culture you want. It's got the 20 most popular cultural traits based on our surveys, observation, experience, and so on. And then all the questions, 167 of them, that if I was an employer, I would ask you to determine if you have a particular cultural trait. So of the 20, there are questions broken down for each one that will help the employer elicit that. That is something that you can grab. It's not free, but it's not super expensive. The other thing that you can do is you can get a copy of the Hiring Prophecies. You can get it on Amazon. You can get the ebook for like $10, or you can get the paperback for maybe $11 or $12, or you can get the entire digital program from us with the audio and all that stuff. And I also discuss that there. But the interview intervention book, this book and the well, you guys, most of you know this, but if you don't, I give this book away for free. If you pay $7 for shipping and handling, I'll ship it to you anywhere in the world. You get the ebook, the audiobook, and the hardcover. But in this book, Kara, maybe we can drop that in the chat. But in this book, is my Silver Bullet interview chapter. In the Silver Bullet interview chapter, I would basically attest that the questions that I've outlined there will help employers determine your fit to 85% of what they need to know. And then the other 20% of what they need to assess in you is your skills, meaning your specific domain expertise, your technical knowledge, your working knowledge of whatever it is the function that you do. So keep that in mind. I would not worry about overly classifying cultural as much as I would making sure that your responses to the questions that I've outlined in that chapter in interview intervention are in order, and I think you will do fine. Bojan, I don't know if it's Bojan or Bohan. I come from Austria. Here it is common to talk salary expectations in the first interview. Unfortunately, it is in the US as well. I never managed to postpone or escape this topic, and I've never managed to catch before me first saying an amount. So I'm not sure if there's a question there, but I would highly recommend that you watch my What's the Best Answer to the Expected Salary question. Check that out. Han, how do you answer a question about your biggest failure in life and at work? So I would give them something that you considered was a failure. And so a couple things on this. Let's talk philosophy, and then let's talk prescription. You know that silly expression that failure is not an option? Well, I like to tell people, if failure's not an option, then neither is success. You will never be successful unless you have failures. And the bigger your failures, the greater the likelihood that you will reach a higher level of success. It's just true. The more risk you take, the bigger the shots you take, the faster you're going to break them, the more you're going to learn, the faster you can get on with being successful. So the most effective story to tell about, a big failure that you've had is mention the failure and then talk about how grateful you were for experiencing it, what it has taught you, and how you are now different. Okay, so you want to get all of that in there. So I was working on, I undertook, and the bigger the failure, the better the story. So if you are in a position of influence and you can say, well, I decided that let's just say for me, I'm in a position of influence. I'm in charge to pick the projects that my company is going to implement. So I decided we were going to build a product to target this particular market. We learned that we built the product, we targeted the market, we spent a lot of money and time and resources in marketing and getting it out there and doing demonstrate, whatever it was, and we realized that we chose the wrong target market. So it was a failure. However, what I'm so thankful for it because I learned that the product was great, but we marketed it to the wrong people or customer or whatever. But the great news is we learned from that mistake how to modify the product for what really is our best target market. And we didn't just improve the product, but we also improved our marketing tactics and we learned better and blah, blah, blah. And then what happened was we implemented this and so on to victory. And that's the story you want to tell. So you've got to think. We had a guy one time that is an aerospace engineer. He was going in like the space shuttle. He had a pen and the cap fell off and it contaminated the capsule. And then that's a failure, but it's a mistake. But what happened was they ultimately tightened the protocols, fixed the physics of blah, 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 so that it wasn't going to be contaminated. Anyway, there was success behind all that, and now they have improved protocols, safety measures, and so on. So, it's things like that I would try to highlight, and everybody should have one of those on the tip of their tongue. And when you get asked that question, you can bet the house on it that it's going to be a generically asked question, meaning they're not going to say, can you tell me what your biggest failure was in doing this specifically? So they're not going to zone you in like that because when they narrow the pool, the probability of you having a good story is going to be a lot lower. So what they tend to do is they just say, tell us about a failure. They're going to give you dealer's choice. So just keep that in mind. So that's something that I would make sure that I do. What was the failure? What did you learn? How did you grow? What was the positive outcome? And so on. So just make sure that you're hitting all of those. Hey, Fawn, how are you? Johnny Stevens, 90-day check-in next week. This earns me telecommuting times 2, maybe it's 2 days per week. What should I do to prepare for the meeting? Johnny, I would make sure that I am going through modules 1 and 2 of the Career Accelerator program, which you have, and I would go through the 5th module, which is about preparing for your reviews and discussions and making sure that you have all of that. But you want to make sure that the parameters were set and the metrics were set up front, that you are doing them. But this is about if your goal out of that session is to get those telecommuting days or whatever that is, then you want to be extra prepared as it relates to your ability to do your job remotely. What translates there? So working knowledge of what you need to do, an established relationship that you have with the people that you interact with, right? And the people that you interact with could be people you have to have dialogue with on a daily basis or weekly basis or whatever it might be, as well as the people that are in front of you in the daisy chain and behind you in the daisy chain and whatever it is that you do. So that's important as well. And it's the trust factor. So you want to make sure that you're getting from your boss or whoever it is you're having this check-in with that he or she has a level of comfort in what you do. And you got to hit those areas. But in general, I would module 1, module 2, module 5, and then make sure you're focusing on those 3 that you've earned your stripes, because that's what working from home is all about. And then there's obviously the level of discipline that you carry throughout your day. The person who is disciplined in the office, there's a greater likelihood that that person is going to be disciplined at home. That's not always the case, but it does take a level of discipline to make sure that you are effective. So I would focus on those things. Yes, Christy, that Cafe Du Monde, that's just good stuff. Oh, wait, dogs are barking at the guys mowing the lawn. Thanks, Andy. I use the concatenate function all the time. I know. Up, tap, tap, tap. The Fixer. In Florida, 200 to 700 people are applying for every job. That's right. And Jay, that's why you can't go through those applicant tracking systems. You got to find the back door. Sarika, hi Andy, love this time slot. Any tips on making a good impression with employer for a future position if I have seen a job that looks wonderful but require an immediate start? So are you talking about making a good impression? Are you talking about an existing Sarika, can you tell me, are you talking about inside your company or are you talking about an outside of your company? If you could tell me that, I'll swing back. Kara will slack it to me. Just let me know. Let me know anything else you want me to know about that situation. MST negates. You have done videos on this topic, but I graduated in May and only have student position experience. I've been struggling to get passed through the panel interviews. Any advice? Yes. Okay. So, couple of things that whether you are a new professional, a recent college graduate, or you're changing careers, you've got to do a couple of things. And one of them is some of them are tactical. So all the interviewing stuff that I've coached you on, I've also put an entire video out there on nailing the panel interview. If you just type panel interview on my channel, or if you type panel interview in Google, or YouTube, it's gonna come up way at the top. So obviously do that for prescription. The one thing that the point I want to cover here today is you are better served trying to surface opportunities where the employer is wildly open to hiring somebody like you, meaning somebody who's new in the field, new to the profession. You obviously have collegiate credentials and a degree that is just a few months old. You've been searching ever since you've gotten out, I'm assuming. So your time is better spent in your job search looking for employers and positions that are open to that. The biggest mistake that a lot of people make that are recent college graduates and career changers is they're spending a lot of time trying to convince employers who have not already bought into the idea that that we are open to hiring you. So you're spending a lot of time trying to convince people who don't believe in that philosophy, instead of getting into interview processes with employers who do. So I don't know what you're doing, why you can't get past the panel interview, because you obviously are getting an interview. And I'm surprised, candidly, that you have panel interviews for college students. I think those should be one at a time. I don't see the point unless they're trying to be economical with their time. But either which way, I would check that video out. And so those two things, check the video, obviously check my job interviewing tips in that playlist, but also spend more time searching for positions that are advertising that college students are welcome. All right. Chris P., my dad is 62 and been out of work 2 years. He's a buyer purchasing agent by trade and is discouraged to the point of taking early retirement. Tips to motivate him to keep trying. So Chris, you are a wonderful child. I don't know if you are a Chris male or Chris female, but either way, it is incumbent. Look, say hi. Will you wish
morning,
my careers
everyone.
and coffee people good luck on their job search and their career development?
Good luck. I know it's a tough.
Over there.
I'm looking at the camera, right? Am I looking at the camera?
Look at the camera.
I am.
There you go. Okay.
I know it's very frustrating. I've been through it. So good luck with everything and stick to it.
All right.
Love you.
Bye. Love you too. All right. It's just you, me, and the dogs now. But Chris, I would, when it's very difficult, and I understand how Dad can be bummed out. But the fact of the matter is that he's got a lot to offer this world, and I would focus on showing him. So whenever I'm uncertain, it doesn't matter. I'll be 53 here in a week or two. It was 53, 62. I understand how this stuff weighs on you as you get older, and we lose sight of the impacts that we're making on people and on our family, and how what we do affects everything in this world. And so when I'm feeling like that, I try to draw my attention to what it is that I'm doing. So is there a way that you can focus your dad on what impact he's making and who's benefiting as a result of him doing that? Sometimes it's the people he serves, sometimes it's his family, and obviously himself, right? The feeling of confidence, the feeling of worth. I know a lot of you focus on my job searching stuff, but I have lots of videos out there, dozens and dozens and dozens of videos on self-help stuff, about your gift and other things related to that kind of stuff. And I would highly suggest looking at that. But for me, I always have to step back and put things in perspective. And so when I was, I have not been shy about explaining to you how difficult what I do is, the ramp up time this takes, and making sure that whatever all of our success metrics are and the way that we look at ourselves, if we're measuring ourselves by the wrong metrics, we tend to get unhappy. And so when I had to step back and really look at it, just an example, but maybe there's some parallels you can draw for your father and any of you that are feeling a little bit frustrated about what it is that you're doing. I thought about so I started a recruitment firm in 2004, and we still operate it today. We still have searches that are going on, although not at the same velocity as we once did. Over the course of those years, 15 years, I've helped a lot of people, several hundred, and I've helped a lot of companies, over 200. That's a lot of people that I've been able to help with their jobs and their careers. And I made a nice living at it. We're trying to wind that down. I became a trainer because I wanted to reach more people. The building of the business is very difficult, and as I would get frustrated and times that I wanted to throw in the towel, the thing that did it for me was I stepped back and I actually looked at what was happening. And when I did that, and I thought about all the work and the time and the effort that I spent in those 15 years or 12 years, 13, 14, 15 years, and all those people I helped, and I really enjoyed that. But because my aspirations were about helping many, many more, it wasn't about dollar for dollar. Could I trade my dollars, right? Earn the same living and all that good stuff. When I thought about it, I realized that while I helped hundreds of people over 15 years, every night when I go to sleep, before I wake up in the morning, I help 1,000 times more that many people right now, every day. 15 years, one night's sleep, 1,000 times difference. So sometimes, and for your father and whoever else, you've got to figure out a way to create that message and to recognize whether he does it for himself or you help him see the impact he's having. But the fastest way is to get a better perspective. You can always say, well, adjust your attitude and things will be better. But for somebody who is very discouraged and bummed out, usually it isn't just saying change your attitude. It's showing them the impact that they're making and that their life has made and that they need to go and continue to do it. So now I just maintain that perspective, and it keeps me going, even when I have difficult days. But I understand, what your dad is how he's feeling, although I've never been through exactly what no one has. But usually the trick is found in altering the way you look at it. And if you can help him, Chris, figure out a way to do that, I think that will help. I don't have a magic pill, but that would be the place I would start. So I hope that helped. All right. Epiphany. Good morning, Andrew. How do I successfully get a job that requires experience when I'm an apprentice? I'm certified as a medical coder, but after most employers require at least 2 years. How do I convince an employer that I can do it without coming across like I'm begging? Epiphany, I'm going to go back literally to what I just said to MST negates. I think that was it, MST negates. It's about, so for any of you that are mentally using the word convince, stop that. So stop trying to convince someone, okay? Go after. Your time is better spent looking for people who are open to the possibility of having somebody like you work with them. If you are certified as a medical coder, there are people that are out there, companies that are out there who would embrace you with open arms. Your time is better spent focusing on finding them, rather than trying to convince them. People that are not bought into that. You will not come across as begging or needy. You do your due diligence, you do your detective work, you have a targeted job search, you continually look for companies. That company doesn't want to do it, or they don't seem to be open, or you get rejection letters, move on. Move on to the next one. People, this world, it's big. We shrink it up here. We limit it up here. We got to get rid of that stuff. If somebody doesn't like you, move on to the next one. And believe me, that is my best advice. You are not skilled at the convincing part. So don't worry about that. You're skilled at the medical coding part. Go with that. That's your asset. Now just find somebody who wants it. Believe me, the issues, a lot of people come to me, they say, hey, I have a problem. This is my problem. No, your problem's way over there. You think it's here, it's way over there. So the way to solve your problem is to go after people who are already convinced that they're open to the idea of hiring somebody with your certification. Go after that. And then you won't need to worry about the begging and how that looks. All right. How we doing here? Kara, how we doing? Okay. Update from Sarika. It's if I see a job outside my company while browsing for positions. Then my remark to that is I would go at it. I'm not quite sure. When you say an immediate start, people want you to start right away, but they're willing, everybody knows you got to go through an interview process. There's going to be a couple of weeks you're going to have to resign and all that good stuff. So my advice is go for it. I would, you know whether you can leave your job, you know whether you can move, or you know whether you can transition, any of that stuff. But the one thing that I always tell people we all overinflate our worth to our employers. You all are special to me, and you're special to yourselves and your families, and you are vital to that. But to employers, we are not, even when we think we are. Even if the whole, the bridge is going to fall and the building's going to burn down, they will survive without you. They survived without you before. The only one of you that can never leave your employer is Kara. So everybody else, trust me when I tell you, don't worry. You just move on when it's your time to get on to something better. All right. Let's see what we got here. Han, I did my first video interview last week. The interviewer never maintained any eye contact with me and kept bombarding me with calls. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. I know that one. Heloisa from Brazil. Your tips are superb. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Aretha, you're welcome. Kara, thank you for putting that in. Wait, so just remember, couple things. Wait, I want to go a little bit more because we're coming up on the hour. This book's free. It's the whole machine that I've put together behind this. I pay for the book. I pay to get it manufactured for you. I give you the ebook, the audiobook, and another ebook titled How to Interview the Employer, 75 Great Questions to Ask Before You Take Any Job. I send you the hardbound as well, anywhere in the world. $7, picking, packing, shipping. All you need to do is click the link Kara gave you, or go to the Mile Walk Academy website. It's right there on the front. This book here is going to be available soon. We've already stocked up the warehouse with a bunch. Be on the lookout for a little thing from me that says, get your out of reach but in sight free book mailed anywhere in the world for $7. Same kind of thing. This thing's going on tomorrow. It's on listening, but you get all the back archives when you join. $49 a month or $297 for the year. Unless you're a boot camper, then you have a different option. You have a lower monthly rate if you want. That's $39. But you get the workbook, you get me, you get the leaders, you get the community and all that good stuff. That's really a lot of fun. A whole library of assets. And with my leadership program, you also get My Career Accelerator program, that's a $400 program. You heard me mentioning it to Johnny Stevens and some of the others. Really great stuff on killing the first 90 days, getting ready to get promoted within the first year and all the things you need to do, all my excellence planning techniques, all my organizational techniques, and then getting ready for your promotion and all that good stuff. And when you join the leadership program, if you join on the annual subscription, I'm going to give you my goal setting masterclass, which I'm filming on September 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You'll have that. That'll be a 5-module. That's a 5-module class that breaks this down into details and tactics. So my goal setting book you can actually get through. Most goal setting books you can't get through, but this is a quick read if you don't have it. You can either grab it or you can wait until we give it away for free. Let me see, what else did I... Kara, is there anything else that I'm missing? Let me know if I didn't. Chris P., I answer questions from everybody, and I believe I just answered yours. Yes, and Chris, and for everybody else, just to know how I do this, I just go in order. So the people in my programs have private time with me. They take advantage of this public time as I would, and as I do with my coaches. I go in their private stuff and I go in their public stuff. Oh, one other thing. I totally forgot this. Today, right now, you can grab this. Anybody who needs resume writing help. A while back, I created a resume writing masterclass. It is the most detailed resume writing instruction that I have. It's the video. There's 2 videos. Actually, there's multiple videos, and it's everything soup to nuts on how to write the resume. I give you the word templates. I give you the content builders. I tell you the topics, what to cover in each section, exactly how to write it, sample sentences, everything. I go through all this stuff. I go through all the exceptions. What do you do when you're a stay-at-home parent? What do you do when you've had a gap in employment? What do you do when you got mergers and acquisitions? What do you do when you're a contractor? What do you do when you're self-employed? I cover every scenario that you can think of. It's all packaged and it's in a system. It's huge. It's $49. So we don't advertise it. And it was something that we put together because we had so much demand for this. And my belief is everybody should have a good resume, and I wanted to make it as affordable as possible for you to get this stuff. So we'll put the link in here. You can grab it. Now here's a great thing. You can have it today. You can grab it. If you are watching this later and the chat's gone, or you're not scrolling through the live chat, email support@milewalk.com. We'll be happy to send you the link. I want you to have it. I care more about you having it than charging you $300 for this, which is what we normally charge. $49. If you enroll in this and you are in that specific product, I am doing a private coaching session just for you, just for resumes. You can ask me whatever you want about the resumes. It'll be a small group because only so many people are going to get into this, and we'll just have at it. And we're going to run that special this weekend, I think. I got to figure out the dates, but basically we're going to email everybody, and then whoever gets in it in a limited time can meet with me the following week, and we will do your resume live coaching session. So if you need resume help, it's a steal of a deal. It's really, really effective. And so Kara told me I forgot to mention that, and I did, and now I did. All right. Bohan, or I think it's Bojan. You got to tell me how to pronounce that. Thank you, man. You are really the best. I tried your strategy about salary expectations, and it just got awkward until the moment I had to state a number. Bohan, can I go back to this and everybody else? Because I know what happens behind the scenes, which is not what you are feeling, right? If you don't give them a number, they're not going to kick you out. I know somebody's going to say, well, they told me that if I don't give them a number that I can't move forward. It's probably the kind of company you don't want to work for in the first place. But here's what I would do if they absolutely insist and they're getting redder than my shirt. I would just say, I'm really open, as I've just stated profusely. You probably have a number in mind that you would like to target for this position. Why don't you just share that with me and I will let you know if that's an okay range? And then just have them do that. And then they say, okay, the job pays between 50 and 60. You heard 60. They actually said 50 to 60, but they heard 50. And you just say, that's okay, based on what I know. That's it. Based on what I know. Because in 3 weeks from now, I'm going to come back when I crush these interviews and I'm going to ask you for more than 60. Because you're going to know more then. And you're going to say, based on how I perform, based on what you want me to do, based on this and that and the other thing, based on the fact that I'm awesome, I want 65. That's what you're going to do. So that's how I would handle that. I probably need to shoot another video about what's an alternate answer to what's the best answer to what's my expected salary. But that's what you do. You kick it back to them. Say, look, you got a range, I'm sure. What is it? And then just say yes. And then don't worry if it's below what you earn or whatever. Just go, keep moving. So I hope that helped. Charlene, yes, you should be in my program, Charlene. Get in the programs. All right, what moves you now? Part 1. Andy, okay, the job involves business intelligence. His job required him to covertly visit company locations to evaluate their ops and report back his findings. Okay. And to offer suggestions of improvements needed to be implemented. He also entered competing companies in the same market. Okay, perfect. Just say, hey, I was a guinea for one of the people that worked here. His job was to evaluate the market. I served as whatever. I gave him all this insight based on my experience. That's fine. Now, the trick with that is, what if I said to you then, well, but you worked for that company and you gave away trade secrets, right? So you got to be careful. That's the downside risk. So you're going to have to gauge these people and what kind of relationship that you have with them. I would not put that in my career profile because you don't know wherever you speak, to whomever you speak, and how the interviewers will interpret that. If you want to say, I didn't give away any confidential information, instead I talked about market trends and other things we were noticing or whatever, that's fine. You just need to be super careful because you never know how somebody's going to react. That's my thought on that. MST negates, you're welcome. Sareka, you are welcome. I did get that. Yes, Diana, my wife, she's just about the cutest little human being I've ever seen in my life. Oh, wait. What moves you now? Are you giving me more? Wait. Oh, I didn't know there were... See, you got to tell me it's 3 of 4. To ensure the price point comparisons, he was sick and I agreed to travel with him for a few days out in the field. What I did for him was perform each site recon. Oh, my God. Well, I'm really not sure. I would not be putting that in my career profile. If you got a connection with the interviewers and you want to talk about it, then I think it's a game time decision there. Epiphany, you're welcome. Go after the people that would embrace you with open arms. Andrew, my namesake. From the age of 17 to 30, I have had over 20 jobs, all minimum wage, and had a mental breakdown at 31 after my daughter was born. My mental health is in a better place now. I'm looking into accounting as a career now. I'm applying for junior positions. The stumbling block for me is a 3-year gap in my work history. Should I be open and honest about the mental health? No, do not do that. Here's what I would say. You want to treat this like you're starting out. I know you're not 22 anymore, but you're looking into a better place. I don't know if you have a degree or not, but either which way, and if you're in accounting, you need some kind of education to do that effectively, to make sure you're in order. I would just say, I had some health issues. I would not say they were mental health issues. I just had some health issues, and that's why there was a gap. All of that is behind me now, and I'm moving forward. I would not get into the details. I always like to share with you all, I would not over-explain Okay, you don't want to over-explain, and you don't want to get into hairy details where you're going to spend a lot of time explaining yourself and your situation. The more time you're spending in your interview explaining yourself, the less time you're selling yourself. So just keep that in mind. All right, Wayne, what is the best approach? What is the best approach on how I can find the company that would take a chance on entry-level graphic design? Wayne, I would look and target companies. I would look on their sites. I would look to see the way they communicate that. Then I would go and apply if you think that that's a good company. They will look at your background, and if they welcome you into an interview, you're going to be open and honest, and they're going to tell you, hey, we're comfortable with that. You can take some comfort in if an employer sees your resume and they actually want to speak with you, then you likely you're okay. That's an indicator based on action. There's also indicators based on explicit messaging, like on the job description, it'll say entry level appropriate, entry level welcome, no experience required. I mean, like, it'll say stuff like that. So that's how I would look at it. And then I would use all the same tactics that we've talked about in targeting your companies. I've got a video out there on how to create a target company list for your job search, and all the board looking that you're doing. And if you are entry level, you are likely, you got a 44% chance of finding your job online if you're entry level. So, take those odds. I would look online too. All right. Varun, you are welcome. Vanessa, how you doing, my boot camper? Christy. Did I skip one? Uh-oh. Andy, how would you word a thank you follow-up email or note after doing one of the one-way video interviews? Excellent question. Charlene, sorry I missed that. I don't know how I missed that. Oh, there it is. Sorry, it was all in between the part 3s and part 4s. Okay, Charlene, sorry about that. I would send the video interview thank you email to whoever coordinated the video interview for you. Just say, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to the screen. I'm really excited. I continue to be excited about the opportunity and feel I would be a great candidate because. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Right? You know what I mean, right? Just pack it. Take my thank you template. If you guys don't know what the thank you template is, page 83 of the book has the template. I think there's a template out there on the internet too. But always thank them for the time. It was an opportunity that they gave to you to talk to the screen. So I would highly recommend you sending one and doing something to that effect. All right. Christy, how would you respond to an interviewer who appended the first question with, "Don't lie to me"? Yes, this was during a phone interview with a manager. Christy, this is such a unique situation. Folks, you interview long enough, you're going to see this stuff. And anybody who says, "and don't lie to me," this was during a phone interview with a manager. I would say, here's what I would say, and here's what would be going through my head. There's no way on this earth that if you were the last person on the planet to offer me a job that I would take it, okay? That would be going through my head. What I would say to them is, I would never lie to you. Lying does neither of us any good, right? If we're going to work together, I want a relationship built on trust. In the interviewing process, I would hope that I wouldn't lie to you and you wouldn't lie to me. And on I'd go. Right? And I give them an answer. That is awful. That's awful. Hey, Vlad, great book. Enjoying it. Wonderful. I want a job in private equity. Use your advice. Direct approach and boss hunting letters get low response. Difficult to find a decision maker in partnership. Any advice? Yes. Don't use my boss hunting techniques or that kind of stuff for private equity groups or venture capital groups. Everything in that side, in that field, is going to be based on the good old boy network, and the good old gal network. So you're going to have to target people that you know. Network mapping. Where do you want to go? How can you get an introduction? Do not email them. Do not email them. 0 emails. You gotta get somebody to introduce you. That's it. Final answer. All right. What moves you now? Let's see. Wait, I think Vlad has another question. Want a job, but can do a job as a contractor and have a business proposition. What is the best approach as a job seeker or self-employed proposing a contract? Vlad, I'm not sure of your situation, and I can't advise on that unless I have a better understanding. If you are open to either, then you have to read the situation. We have individuals that we recruit that are open to either, and then it's a matter of, at that time, what's best for the company and the individual. I don't know what your business proposition is. I don't know what you'd be pitching or to whom you'd be pitching it, so it's hard to answer that. Charlene, Andy, how would you word a thing? Oh, I think that's there again. Safari, I find it difficult to find a job now that I am over 50. Do you have any suggestions? I do. I have a video out there that's titled Job Search Advice for Over 50-Year-Olds. Check that out. I also have some ageism videos out there, how to overcome age discrimination in a job interview. I also, this is now in the private domain or premium domain. For those of you that are in Safari's case, inside my job search bootcamp, there is a module for over 50-year-olds, and if you are a senior executive, and how I would approach the job search and all that stuff, recruiters and everything else, if I'm in that demographic. It's inside my job search bootcamp now. It's a module. I have one for career changers too, and a few other specialty ones like that. I don't know if the bootcamp is something you want to jump into. If it is, you can send us a message at support@milewalk.com. We'll be happy to give you $100 off the base price of that. It's normally $597, but we will, for my community and anybody who reaches out, we will offer it to you for $497, and you can check that out. But first, I would look at my videos that are free, for sure. And then also, Safari, there is a webinar that we have called How to Find a Job You Love, and it's really good. I would do that in conjunction with my 10x10 job search formula. It's a downloadable workbook. It has an assessment in it. It gives you all the steps in the job interview process. It allows you to go through it and look at the health of your job search, and it gives you all the tactics and all the mistakes. You take that and the free webinar coupled with the over 50 videos and the age discrimination videos, I think you'll be okay. If you need more firepower, then the boot camp is the way to go. But at least there's a process for you there. Savita, meeting a potential employer for possible employment if there are common interests. Meeting was arranged by a common colleague. Awesome. Great opportunity. How do I approach the meeting? Okay. So when you all are going to a meeting like this, where you have a potential employer, so you know who the company is, obviously, you know what they do, you know the products that they develop or services that they provide, and so on. That's that. You have your background and your assets. There's an intersection, right? There are some value that you have in your background. So what I would do is I'm going forward to meeting somebody like this without a position in front of me, a job description or whatever. What I tend to do is I want to do all the background on the individual and see what resonates with him or her, where they've been and all that good stuff. I want to make sure that I understand at the corporate level what they do and how what I do can be an asset for them. So while I don't know what the job would entail, I would want to know if she or he asked me, hey, how can you help us? My response would be, well, I have, several different skills and experiences and so forth, and I'd be happy to share all those. It might be best if I could share them in alignment with what you need at the moment. What's the biggest gaps you have that you need help with? And I can kind of overlay how I can help you with as well as how it fits into that. And so I would try to get some kind of idea from them early on. And I almost would probably be proactive. Like if I'm going to a meeting with somebody who says, "Hey, come on in, let's just talk about how you might be able to, join the organization or see if there's a fit or see how we might be able to help each other." I'd blurt out before they even get a chance, "Hey, great to meet you. I'm dying to know how I might be able to help you or where you need help in your company." Like I would just spit it out there. And then if it's a casual conversation, you'll probably kick that around. But that's how I would approach it. I would also look at individuals within their organization that have similar backgrounds to you. What do those people do? What are they called? What are their titles? What are their functions? How long they've been there, all that good stuff. And then you can go onto the website if they have these publicized in what those job descriptions are for those people. That'll get you thinking about, hey, I might be a this, I might be a this, I might be a this. Don't lead with that. Don't say, "Hey, I noticed you have a position like this, account exec, product developer, this and that." Don't do that. You never want to lead them. You want them to tell you what they need the most. Then you want to hope that your background fits that, and then you want to jump on that. So because if you lead them, "Hey, I noticed you have," then you might take yourself down about, "Yeah, we have those. I have 10 of them. I love them all. I don't want to trade anybody out." Door closed. Okay? It's a momentum breaker. Let them lead with what they need. If they don't lead with what they need, get them there. So that's how I would approach that. So I hope that helps. Andrew, you are welcome too. I think there might be a question here. B. O'Brien. I've been in executive level positions for 14 years. Now now being directed in phone interviews to mid-management level positions instead of executive level jobs. I'm very concerned about moving backwards in my career. Should I be? I don't know. So we get this question a lot. Does title matter? I don't really care about the titles. I don't really care about who I'm speaking with in the organization. I care about is what they're interviewing me for. Is that function something I'm interested in? Is that function something that I want to do and am good at? Is my compensation appropriate? And so on. Mid-level management in one company could be senior vice presidents in another. So I don't know. Number one, I don't get overly hung up on that. We have the guy who we're just going to place is from a consultant to like a vice president. So, and then we have vice presidents that go to managers. And I don't really care about any of that stuff. I care about what were you doing? Why did you do that? So I can understand that if you were a manager, you all of a sudden took a leap to vice president because you went with this small startup. That's fine. Or you were a vice president at the startup, you went to a mid-level manager with this medium-sized company. That's fine too. All of that's okay. So the short answer to should I be concerned is I don't know. I mean, if you're not able to impress and you truly should be at these levels up here, yeah, then maybe that's concerning. But if there's, a calibration between where you were and where you are going in the types of companies that you're pursuing, then I wouldn't be. So, I hope that helps. I think people tend to worry about this more than they need to. But B. O'Brien, I don't know your situation, so I'm not sure, but I wouldn't get too hung up on it. Hello, Toya. Luke Everything. How you doing? Hi, Andy. Would I do anything differently interviewing as an internal applicant? Yes. Luke Everything. Watch my video on how to beat the internal job candidate. I know you are one. You need to make sure that you're doing what I'm telling the outsiders to do as an internal candidate. The other thing is I would likely, so do all that. That's counterintelligence. Go watch that video. Second thing is I would probably be stacking up recommendations internally. So I'd be working the floor. I'd be getting my recommendations lined up. I'd be going to the people that I worked with inside the company. I would want to know, what was the greatest value I added to you? Things I can improve. Like, get the intel from them and then tell the stories in your interviews and use stories related to inside your company. Okay, and make sure, if you haven't seen my video on this one interview tip will guarantee to get you hired, make sure you're watching that, because the biggest mistake that internal candidates make in interviews is they spend too much time leaning on the fact that they're already there and they know all the people. That's great. You give me an outsider that can catapult me forward with fresh ideas and a new way of thinking that has just told me how exactly they're going to build out that marketing strategy, and you don't do that, I'm going to take the other person. So just make sure that you're moving it to the future. That's what I was getting at, is that you're going to talk about, here's how I would do this, and here's how I would be able to do that quickly because of my working knowledge of this, that, and the other thing, and the internal workings of the people, and our integrators that we work with, or our partners, or the customer types, or the customer demographics, or the customer segments, or the whatever. All that is fuel for you to say, and I would take all that, and here's what I would do with it. But people don't do that. So just make sure you do. All right. I have got to get running, folks. All right, real quick. This guy, $7 anywhere in the world. This guy, tomorrow, we're going through the power of listening. It's going to be awesome. Jump in, check it out. You can cancel anytime. If you want to get in for half off, that's the yearly subscription. You get all the stuff, the workbooks, the library of assets. Great. You get the Career Accelerator, and you'll get the Goal Setting Masterclass. When that's done, the Resume Writing Masterclass, $49 if you want that. Check that out. It's really a steal. There's a little video on the page that shows you exactly what you're going to get inside. So it's like you don't need to worry. You can see exactly what you're getting. It's great stuff. Lot of really, really good resume tips in there, and techniques, the framework, the templates, and all that good stuff. All right. That's it, folks. I got to go to work. Actually, I got to go to work, then I got to run, then I got to go back to work. All right. You guys have a great day. I will see you Thursday at live office hours. Enjoy the stuff. Take care.